brand new season.
You're listening to Arkansas Preps Weekly on Natural State Sports, your top source for the biggest news in high school sports across Arkansas.
Here we go, here we go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into episode number 15 of Arkansas Preps Weekly. My name's Kyle Sutherland, and this is the first edition, second edition of our summer series, because we did do baseball. Definitely go take a look at that. Kevin Bohannon did a fantastic job with Ethan Bates, former Hot Springs Lakeside star, and of course now Louisiana Tech baseball player, two-way player that was named the 2024 Conference USA Player of the Year. So now on the softball side, we've got a great interview with Joley Mitchell, former Rosebud Lady Rambler star, who started her college career at Notre Dame, actually played in a regional in Fayetteville against the Ladybacks last year. I don't guess they're calling them that anymore. The Razorbacks last year. So got that opportunity to do that, and now is playing for the Texas Longhorns and has had a great year for a team that is has been one of the top teams in the nation thus far, and they've got a chance to prove that they are at the Women's College World Series. So very excited to have this talk with Joley. She had just about every award during her time at Rosebud, won a state championship, all kinds of different players of the year. So I'm going to talk with her a little bit about this year, what it's been like. Of course, at the time we record this, they are about to leave on a plane. So we were pressed for time, but still got a lot of really good stuff in. So before we get into that, we need to pay the bills real quick. And I want to tell you guys about our friends at Athletic Field Service of Arkansas, because a properly graded infield is not only important for player safety, but also the field's health. And no company in the state can match the exceptional service and dedication like our friends at Athletic Field Service of Arkansas in Sherwood. From infield renovation, lip removal and edging, mound rehab, laser leveling, and much more, Jeremy Rice and his crew have you covered. Call Jeremy at 501-416-1218. That's 501-416-1218 today for your free evaluation and consultation. And you can check them out on Facebook to see what else they have to offer. And you can also look online by searching Athletic Field Service of Arkansas. Athletic Field Service of Arkansas, we got the dirt on your infield. So without further ado, here is our talk with Texas Longhorn and Rosebud native Joley Mitchell. And we are happy to be joined now by University of Texas Longhorn softball player Joley Mitchell. Joley, I know it is absolutely crazy right now, so I very much appreciate you taking some time out. I know as we're recording, you guys are about to head to OKC, so I got to ask you, has it really set in yet now that you're a few days removed from clinching your first spot personally in the College World Series?
Not so much. However, I am very excited. We were played at OKC a couple weeks ago, and I know that the environment was, very different, but I am really excited to experience this. It's what I've wanted to do since I was a little kid.
And let's talk a little bit about just this process because last year about this time, I think, was it last year y'all were playing in Fayetteville with Notre Dame. So you're playing on the field that you won a state championship with Rosebud, obviously playing against a team that you know very well, just growing up and everything. But talk about that process from after regionals, getting into the transfer portal, and then picking Texas ultimately.
Yeah, I knew that I wanted to get my degree from the University of Notre Dame. That's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That's something you can't pass up. I kind of knew that I wanted to come to Texas, and I knew that I had to work really hard the year before. So my senior year, I kind of dedicated my season to being the best that I could be so that I could end up here at Texas. As soon as we got home, I knew that I needed to make a move, and I jumped into the transfer portal that Tuesday, and I got a call from Coach White pretty much immediately. I was very excited about that. And, it just I got here and I fell in love and I committed on the spot.
And so was it something that maybe you became interested in Texas, like you had played them? What was it? I didn't grow up there. I lived in San Antonio for 3 years, so I'm very familiar with Austin. It's a great place. I mean, the University of Texas is pretty much a city in itself. But was it maybe just you had played against them, or you'd heard some things about Coach White? What was it exactly that sparked your interest there?
Yeah, we played against them, and I just knew that that's the year that they got to the World Series in 2022. So I knew that they had a lot of fight in them. Seeing that team at the beginning of the year and the team how they ended up at the end of the year finishing second in the country. I mean, that's unimaginable. So I knew that Coach White had a lot of fight in him, and I have a lot of fight in me too. And I'm a competitor, and I knew that he was going to do whatever it took to win a national championship.
And I got a chance to watch your interview with Lake Area Sports the other night, and I know they had touched on Coach White, because let's call it what it is. He's a polarizing figure in softball, and you know him personally. Obviously, love playing for him and everything, but he is not one to pull punches, I guess is probably the best way to describe him. He's going to say what's on his mind. Obviously, a very sharp guy. Just listen to him in interviews, but just what has that been like playing for him? Of course, playing for him, but also just getting to know him off the field.
Yeah, I mean, off the field, he's just so fun to be around. He's got a great sense of humor, and it's the good thing is that he can switch it on and off if he needs to. Practice, he's always giving us good feedback, and I mean, he wants us to win. He wants us to be the best versions of ourselves, and just have everybody on the same page.
And I know that you had come to Texas because you wanted a chance to play on this stage that you're going to get a chance to do on Thursday. But, I mean, just what y'all been able to do this year, not only being up there with being talked about as the top team in the country, depending on what week it was. I mean, all season, you guys have been up there as one of the top contenders, but you beat OU in a series, which that just doesn't happen hardly. I know Oklahoma State was another one that did that, but you've gotten a chance to do that and, again, play for one of the hottest teams in the country. So is it about what you expected, or has it been so much more?
I think it's exceeded what I was expecting. OU is a tough team, but I mean, obviously we had the ability and the guns to do it. Fan base is huge here, and so I'm really blessed to have that kind of fan base that kind of pushes us a little bit more. I feel like a bunch of the games that we've played this year, especially this past weekend, the OU series, I mean, you have a great fan base that's always going to be cheering you on. They're into the game just as much as everybody else is. I think that this team is just totally different. We're obviously one of a kind, but everybody has so much grit about them, and we've become so close to each other. We're like a little bitty family, but we love one another, and we want what's best for each other, and we want to win.
Talking with former Rosebud Rambler Joley Mitchell and current Texas Longhorn. And Joley, I got to ask you too, we'll talk about the team here. So you have a mix of, you got some seniority like yourself, but then you've also got some young kids as well. And obviously it doesn't really matter what their age is. They're all producing. I mean, just with what y'all have done at the plate and of course in the circle, but I want to go back to the Texas A&M Super Regional. Of course, y'all lost the first game by a run, and second game isn't looking too hot, but then you put the first run on the board with that home run. Walk us through that at bat. I imagine, I don't want to speak for you, but I imagine it's probably just like any other at bat, trying to get on base, trying to knock one out, whatever it may be. But what was it maybe about that particular one that was like, okay, we're going to get a run on the board here and we're going to climb back into this thing?
We were kind of getting past that halfway point of the game, and it's, we were on Kennedy, and I think we just needed to kind of, round ourselves together and just make things happen one at a time. At bat, like you said, at bats they're at bats. So just trying to do my job and getting a good pitch to hit, being on time, things like that we talk about as a team. And after that, I knew that, that was going to get the spark going, and it did. And everything, I think everybody kind of picked up on it, and everybody ran with it.
And I know you weren't on that 2022 team that lost the first game to Arkansas, then came back and then made a trip but I think you actually just referenced that 2022 team a second ago. But was that maybe something that Coach White made an emphasis on, or did he even bring it up after y'all lost that first game just because they had been in this position not long ago?
Yeah, he brought it up, and he's talked about how he's been in this position many times, and his teams always give a lot of fight. And we saw that this weekend out of us as a team. So his little pep talk after the Friday night loss, he was saying, we've got the ability, we've got the skill, and we've got the fight in us. All we have to do is put it together for the next 2 days so we can go to OKC.
And I know you don't really care who the opponent is. You're just happy to be playing in the College World Series. But pretty cool to be playing against Stanford. Obviously, Nyjah Kennedy was considered by, I think that you talk to just about anybody, they would tell you that she's the best pitcher in the nation or up there. And also, too, another fellow Arkansan, Alyssa Houston, will be playing for Stanford as well. So, again, I know it's not really about who the opponent is more so than just being there, but some pretty cool storylines in that first game.
Yeah, absolutely. You jump into, Nyjah is one of the best in the country, and we faced her this year already, and we're still just focusing on planning, getting in the game, having a plan, sticking to that plan, just doing what we can against her. And also a huge congratulations to Alyssa. Arkansas kids, that's what it's about for us.
And let's talk about being from Arkansas. Now, Alyssa played in Class 5A. She played against Bentonville, and I know y'all played some tough competition as well, even in Class 3A. But was it a bit? And obviously, you played travel ball as well, so you probably played in in front of some pretty big crowds. But was it a little bit of a culture shock going from 3A Rosebud, and even might have been 2A at that time? I can't remember exactly. But going there to play at Notre Dame, was it a little bit of a culture shock?
Yeah, I think so, just a little bit. Not so much just the culture shock, but it's just kind of carrying over to the environment. And even like from Notre Dame to Texas is even different. I just think that being able to adjust is just a huge thing. But I will say that I am very proud of what I had, the support that I've had from Rosebud especially. And I think that it helped me a lot to have a lot of support here today.
And talk about just the growth of Arkansas high school softball. I mean, you've got yourself, you've got Alyssa, you've got others that are playing on the big stages in Division I and other levels as well. But I think that especially when you look at least the last decade or even back to when you played before COVID, it has really just continued to grow, particularly in the northwest part of the state. So how fulfilling is that as someone like yourself that has put all into the game that you have, to see it getting the exposure it is? You can watch it pretty much anywhere on TV. What has that been like for you to see as you grow up?
Well, I mean, I started when I was really young, so it's really great to see that each year it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And knowing that I have kids that, I don't even know, kids that I do know, kids that I've given lessons to, that they want to play softball, that they want to be at the collegiate level when they get older. But the sport is it's one of the best sports. It's my favorite sport, obviously, but I think that a lot of people are really getting into it, and that's what we need for the sport.
And, I have to ask about the Arkansas-Texas rivalry. You being a native Arkansan and then going to Texas, is there when you get around your family and friends back home, is there some subtle jabs, or is that kind of really has that all gone away, I guess, now that you're a year into being a Longhorn?
I think at first it was kind of a big deal for everyone, but I think they get past that and they focus on, my happiness and what I wanted to do. And I told everybody, this is what I want to do. I want to go to a competitive school, be on a competitive team with a competitive coach. So I think it's more about the competition here and just knowing that I'm getting love and support no matter what, even though it might be hard for some people, to think about wearing burnt orange or, putting the horns up. But yeah, I think it's gotten a lot better. And I think that they're just supporting me, knowing that I'm happy. And so I'm happy that that's going on.
Well, I'm not going to say I'm a fan. I mean, obviously, I follow you. I'm not going to say I'm a fan of Texas, but I am one of the few Razorback fans that does not hate the Longhorns. Maybe it's partly because I lived in Texas for a bit, but I'm not saying that only because it's convenient. It's true. But as we wrap up here, I want to kind of just talk about, because the reality of it is, when you're not playing ball, you have a life. And that's some things that people forget about is, why is this girl or this guy having a bad game? Well, they don't think about some things that maybe goes on in their personal lives as well. So as you've gone through high school, travel ball, and now getting to play in the College World Series and playing Division I softball, what are some of the biggest lessons that you have taken, maybe whether it's getting out of your own head or whatever the case may be, that has just helped you continue to develop as a player and as a person?
I think a big thing that I focused on the last couple of years is, looking back on when I was in high school and having so much success, what was my greatest quality? And my greatest quality was being confident. I always was relaxed and, getting up to at bats, and I was confident in myself that I was going to be successful. And, it's harder when it gets college time, because obviously everybody's a lot better. You're playing against the best country or the best teams in the country. So, you just have to kind of, like you said, get out of your own head. And mentally, you just have to realize that, you are a human and that softball isn't everything. And, I feel like softball is a lot to me, but I've actually grown a lot this year itself because, we're playing the best teams in the country. We're facing the best pitching in the country, the best hitters, things like that. So, I just have to remember that I need to be a little bit graceful with myself and not being too hard, and realizing that mistakes do happen and you can't be perfect.
Right. And do you have 1 year left, or is this it for you?
I do have a year left, yes.
So, okay, I wasn't sure. So you got another year of play. This COVID year stuff, it still just throws me off, even 4 or 5 years later. But what do you plan on doing, once you're done playing? Do you want to get into coaching? Do you want to get into something completely unrelated to softball? What are your plans once you get done with Texas?
My biggest goal in life has been to work in the medical field. I've been bouncing back and forth between a few things, but once this softball chapter closes, I think that that's going to be enough for me. Maybe later in life, coaching might, make its way back in. But I really want to focus on my career in the years following softball.
Well, Joley, I know you got to get on a plane. This has been great. We're really happy to have you on and get some more exposure for Texas and also, too, just to kind of get some of your story out there. I know that obviously a lot of people around Arkansas definitely know about you, but just really cool, to see a kid just from little old Rosebud, Arkansas, where you literally blink and miss it to be on this stage. So very proud of you, very proud of Alyssa for y'all getting to do this. We're all rooting for you guys back home and best of luck to you in the College World Series.
Thank you so much.